everyone, I'm Jody. Welcome to my channel and welcome to the magic show. And I say that because today we are going to transform my dry looking skin on my face to a beautiful base that lasts for hours. Impossible, you might think. However, I'm going to share with you the new 5-step skincare plus routine that I am using that really preps my skin for a good base or foundation that lasts for hours. So if you are ready, I'll meet you on the other side of this intro. But as always, this is a good time to hit that subscribe button and be sure to leave me some comments. And if you like the video, I know there's a lot to do here. Subscribe, and then at the end of the video, hit the like button. And as always, leave me comments along the way so I know what you're thinking while we're doing this. It's sort of my way of interacting with you in not so real time, but kind of real time. All right, you ready? Let's get started. Right, some of these products you guys probably already have. What I've really noticed is that my makeup lasts a lot longer and just looks better throughout the day. And by better, I mean on my more mature skin, I don't find that with this new routine, my skin looks as orange peely as the day goes on. I don't find that I'm getting the settling into my skin and into my pores that I typically do. And definitely I don't get the settling into the lines. My skin just looks more, dare I say, plump and hydrated throughout the day, longer into the day than it has before I got to this routine. The first layer that I like to put on my skin after I've washed my skin in the morning with coconut oil, the very next thing I do is add this Advanced Snail 96 Mucin Power Essence. I take 2 pumps of this, and it is a little tacky, but it's not sticky. It doesn't feel sticky onto the skin. This I reviewed on my channel probably in 2021. It might be early 2022, but before it hit social media and was all a craze. I'm not saying I'm a trendsetter with this. I'm just saying I'm not on this bandwagon because it's all over social media. In fact, Snail Mucin has been a part of the K-beauty regiment for decades and decades. So it's nothing new, and I've really started to gain a new appreciation for Korean beauty and the ingredients that they put in their skincare. And in this case, what the snails donate to the skincare. I just like to put that all over my skin, onto my eyelids, everywhere. When you first apply it, it feels a little bit, I don't want to say tacky, it's not tacky. You just can feel that there's a product on your skin, but that goes away relatively quickly. I just let it sit everywhere and really absorb into my skin for about 3 to 4 minutes before I'll go to the next step. And that second step for me is without a doubt my sunscreen by La Roche-Posay. This is an SPF of 50. This is the Athelios AOX. I take 2 pumps of this. Now there's some confusion around, first of all, I'm very comfortable with the 2 pumps. I've had my dermatologist look at how much I use. We all are fine with it. Every time I say that, there's a few comments that say, and in all caps as though they're yelling at me, that it's not enough. Thank you, it is enough. I have checked it with my dermatologist. We're very happy with how much I use. It's about a quarter size amount when it's all said and done. Now, some people have asked about the layering steps, and what I can tell you is if you use a chemical sunscreen like mine has, then it will go on before your moisturizer. And by chemicals, I mean things like titanium dioxide, a chemical-based sunscreen. If you use a mineral-based sunscreen, however, that's the sunscreen that you'd want to apply after your moisturizer. So hopefully that helps clarify for you where in the process, which step in this process you'd want to apply your own sunscreen. So now that that's all over, I use what's left on the back of my hands because I'm really trying to protect those from the sun. And then I will go back in with just a half of a pump and go down my neck with the sunscreen and any areas that are visible and exposed to the sun so that while I'm driving, I'm not damaging my décolleté. Now, if I was in my 30s or 40s, this is where the skincare might stop and I would start going into the makeup routine. However, with every decade comes a new skincare product. In my 40s, I needed to add a step. Now that I'm in my 50s, I need to add another step. This is the collagen, this is by Charlotte Tilbury. It's the Collagen Superfusion Facial Oil. And I buy these in the travel size just because I feel like when there's a big bottle, I like to have a more fresh bottle. So I like to have my skincare in smaller bottles. And for this, I'm just going to take 2 drops of oil. Now, if you have dry skin everywhere, then you might want to add a little more oil. I'm not dry in the T-zone. I'm more oily there, so I don't want to add a bunch of oil where I already have oil. If you have oily skin everywhere, then you can skip this step. As I've aged, I just find that I've got some drier patches right through my cheeks, on the side of my head, and right through this little, I don't know why, the bridge of my nose right through there gets dry. And then right underneath my eyes, and then I'll just take what's left and add it on my cuticles. This isn't 100% fragrance free. It has the slightest, softest smell in the nice way. It's a nice scent. You know that smell when you are going to a spa to get a massage or something and you first open the door to the whole building of the spa, just that little relaxing scent. That's what I would say this is. I'm pretty susceptible to migraines with stronger scents, and this doesn't do anything to my head at all. So that may or may not be the case for you, but it does have the slightest scent. Now that I let that really absorb into my skin, the next thing that I will do, step number 4, is I will use the Charlotte Tilbury Charlotte's Magic Serum. Again, this comes in the smaller travel size, which I love. And I will take the same amount of this as I do for the oil, just 2 little dots. And then I will press that again on my cheeks, under my eyes, up in the temples, on the forehead. This one goes everywhere, whereas the oil only went where I was more dry. Now what this serum does is not only does it help lock in some of the moisture in your skin and the moisture from the products that you just applied, it's got the very slightest pearl iridescent almost color to it. So it gives you a nice natural glow from within to the skin without having any sparkle or shimmer or any specks of gold in it. It's just a nice, really pretty hydrating serum. Now, if I was gonna do a no makeup day, I could stop here and feel really comfortable about the health and glowiness of my skin, but I rarely have those days. I usually put on something. You could put on a light tinted moisturizer here, you could put on your BB cream, you could put on your CC cream, you could put on your foundation, you can heavy, medium, sheer, whatever you want. Before we get to the foundation, you can see this discoloration underneath my eyes. Some days it's more purple, some days it's more blue. You might have more brown underneath your eyes, so I've got a great hack for you for that. This NYX Lingering Extra Large, XX Large, is in color Getting Caliente. Now, at first you're gonna look at that and go, why in the world? This is a lip product, and I like to mix this with my concealer, and I am just testing out this new Laura Mercier concealer. I'll have some thoughts on that. Spoiler alert, I'll probably put this in a Friday face-off. Let me know if you guys want this in the Friday face-off against House Labs, the new Gucci concealer, or the new Natasha Denona concealer. I've got all 3, so let me know if you're considering buying this one, and if so, which one you have and you want to see how it compares to. This one just came out. All right, so back to the concealer. So I'm gonna mix a little bit of that orange Getting Caliente with my concealer to get it to be a really light peach color. Now the reason I like to mix it myself instead of just buying a color corrector that is already in the bottle is because there are days when I need more coverage, more color corrector than others. So there's days where I might want this to be a brighter orange if I find that underneath my eyes is more dark that day. Remember when last year people were putting blush and pink tones and red tones underneath as their concealer? It's sort of that same process, but I like doing it this way because it allows me to control the amount of pigment, the amount of orange that I put in my concealer. So you can see I just mix that down, get a little bit on my brush, and then I like to hold my brush at the very end and go right into those areas where I am more purple. And what this does is it neutralizes that dark area and helps provide a smooth canvas for when I go to add my concealer right as a last step in my base process before I do my eyes. So I won't leave it like this. I will add a concealer over it, but mixing that pigment with my concealer in a very thin layer neutralizes that under eye area and then provides a smooth canvas for me to go back in and add concealer. Again, very thin layer once I've finished my foundation. You can see how that peach undertone from mixing that orange with that concealer neutralizes the dark circles under my eyes, and then this will just become brighter when I put concealer on top of it. Next, I'll use the House Labs by Lady Gaga Triclone Foundation. If you struggle with finding a good match for your foundation, going onto the House Labs website and going through their process of how to determine the best match for my skin tone with their foundation was the only time that I've done that process, and it worked perfectly. I have done that process with many foundations where I've tried to go through and order them online and do their whole matching of your skin tone, and then it comes in the mail and it's not the right color. They recommended this color, which is 200 light medium neutral. It's been a great color match for me. I just like to apply my foundation to the outer edges first, and then I will work my way in towards the center. I like to use more of a dense brush and press it in, but then do like up and down strokes. I don't like to do a lot of twirly strokes with this brush. I feel like it leaves lines, but I do prefer to use a more dense brush. And that old adage, a little goes a long way and less is more, so true when it comes to providing a nice base of foundation on more mature skin. So I really do find that I use 3 or 4 or 5, in this case 5 layers for my skincare and less on the makeup side of things, and I like the results. I like the way my skin looks. Do you find that too? As you age, you just do more on the skincare side and less on the makeup side? Which, if you'd have told me in my 20s that I was gonna have a longer skincare regimen and a shorter makeup regimen each day, I'd have thought, no way, I must have this layer and that layer. Although back in the 80s when I was, learning makeup, that was my teen years, we didn't have contouring, we didn't have highlighting. I'm not even sure I liked wearing blush back then. I'm just going all over my face and bringing that foundation right up to where I have that more orange or peachy concealer and color corrector. And then I'll cover the rest of that with some concealer here in a second. Think of that foundation as your 5th step in the process on the skincare side. Now, before we go into the makeup side, and yes, arguably the foundation is makeup, I get that, but I just wanna make this next step somehow inserted into your routine because it's an important part of the process, but it's not applying a product, it's actually taking a product off. And that is, now that we've got all those layers on our skin, I wanna go in with a cloth of some sort. I wouldn't use a beauty sponge for this. I would use something that's more like a terry cloth or a makeup remover or something like that. And all I want to do is just really softly press that foundation into my skin while also allowing this puffer to remove any of the oil that has come to the top of the product, including that foundation, because we don't want to have products with oil sitting on top. We've locked in all the moisturizer into our foundation already, because now anything that we apply on top of the foundation, we want to stick and adhere. And if we've got a layer of sort of oil, then you're not going to get the best out of some of your cream blushes, for example. So I'm just going to go through and really pat up any of that excess that's left, any of the residue from any of the products that we've just layered. This also helps to mattify your foundation a little bit. You won't be left with over shiny and almost that greasy look right out of the gate. So now I'll go in with my concealer. Now when it comes to concealer, you guys, this isn't to brighten, this is to conceal. So put concealer where you think you need it most. Don't necessarily follow a face map of where other people put concealer. For me, concealer is meant to conceal the darkness under my eyes and to slightly brighten up this under eye area without looking cakey. And that's why these 5 steps are so important. If you find that your concealer gets a little bit crepey throughout the day, then before you put it where you want it, let it sit for a minute or two to let the air evaporate out of that concealer a little bit. It allows you to move it where you want it, and it's a thinner consistency, easier to move and more likely to stay in place. I like to apply it with a damp beauty sponge and just really press it into all those fine lines. Isn't it interesting how bright that under eye area can look just by adding like some of this orange Getting Caliente and diluting it down a little bit into a color that is best for you? I love that hack. So there are the 5 steps. Now you could stop here and just put on a light dusting of powder, maybe some lip gloss, a little bit of blush if you want. I have just recently purchased the Soft Pinch Dewy Liquid Blush by Rare Beauty in the color Hope. I had a lot of you recommend this to me and say how much you love this. So I was at Sephora the other day and thought, let's just try it. I mean, the packaging for Rare Beauty is absolutely stunning. This video is not sponsored. I paid for all these products. I think it's important to say that. And let's just see, I've never used this before. There's no scent to it. The color is really pretty. see how well that blends out. I'm just using a damp beauty sponge just to give me a nice soft little flush look versus a blush look for today. Deborah, one of my longtime subscribers, I can see why you like this blush. That is really pretty, blends out nicely. That is so pretty and adds a nice little glow that I'm gonna use it as lipstick and see what happens. Oh wow, that is gorgeous. I love that color. Again, you guys, this was Hope, if you're looking for a color in Rare Beauty. The last thing to do to set this and then go onto our eyes or go out for the day is just add a very light dusting of powder. I am using the Givenchy powder. I have it in number 3. I always like to just get it from the lid and then twist it on the side of my pencil brush and then take off any excess. I don't like a lot of powder. I like to just have just a little bit, a slight light veil of it just to hold all that in place. And then once I've pressed out all those wrinkles under my eye, I will just go in and lightly tap that under eye area with a little bit of powder. And then I always use a little bit around my nose because some reason the sides of my nose acts as an oil drain and catches the oil from the rest of my face. Not really, but it feels like it. In about 2 hours, I tend to have like sliding foundation or whatever in this area if I don't powder it. I hope you followed along with me in this process. Now from here you can add some powder blush to lock in or intensify the blush color. You could add some contour powder to add some dimension and some structure to your face. You could add a bronzing powder to just add a little bit of a glow or a tan to your face. And then of course you can add some highlighter right through your cheekbones, a little bit on your forehead, whatever you want to do. I have loved starting my makeup with these steps. And then once I get to here, I'm confident that my makeup's gonna last looking like this much longer throughout the day. So now what I'll do is just add a little bit of eye makeup, finish my eyebrows, and then that does it for me for the day. So if you need help, just put me on your phone down while you do your makeup and we'll get ready together. I'm gonna go finish my makeup, do my eyes and my eyebrows, and then I'm gonna get my day started. Let me know in the comments if you have more makeup or more skincare in your morning routine. I'd love to learn from you guys as well. That does it for me. Have a great rest of your day and I will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.